Hi, I'm Jared.
And I'm Brad.
And this week on Hood Slappers, we're going to be reviewing the 2021 Volkswagen ID4. The Volkswagen ID4, Volkswagen's very first fully electric SUV. It has been a long time coming, bringing great excitement and anticipation. Being a first, it offers a lot of new things that some VW drivers might not be familiar with. So I think it begs the question, can anyone drive an ID4? Can someone with an IQ of 4 drive the ID4? It just so happens that Brad has an IQ of 4. A few things that make this obvious. Note the glasses. The unique design takes away from wondering, are there even lenses in those? And of course, the gray hair. Clearly not an indication of wisdom by any means. Finally, name brand clothing. Purchasing materials to cover yourself up based on what this logo is, adding copious amounts of unnecessary markup. Yes, indeed, an IQ of 4. Why isn't that right, Brad?
Yes, that's right, Jared. Why, I don't think I've ever passed a test in my life. I'm just so happy to work with you. You are all I need in my life. You are my hero.
Why, thank you, Brad. That's very kind of you to say. Now let's see what the electric version of the people's car has to offer. The Volkswagen ID4, like the Beetle, a vehicle being quoted as the most important Volkswagen to date. With pressure like that, we must assume that the ID4 came dressed for the party and can live up to the expectation.
Now, Jared, much like the original Beetle, the ID4 doesn't give consumers a whole lot of choice, which actually makes things much more simple. So with the ID4, you have two choices. You can go with the rear-wheel drive Pro, or what we have here, the all-wheel drive Pro, which adds a second motor in the front.
Now, both trim levels give you the option of the Statement Package. The Statement Package has a price tag of about $8,000 and will give you those extra things like leatherette seats, power tailgate, and a fixed moonroof. For the full list of Statement Package options, click on the link in the description below.
Of course, another one of the big differences between the two is really just range. Now, the all-wheel drive that we have here will give you 386 kilometers when fully charged, whereas the rear-wheel drive Pro will give you up to 400 kilometers.
Well, Brad, Volkswagen loves a good challenge. As we know, they've been late to the party a few times, but fashionably late, if I may say so myself. And with that, Volkswagen is producing something that's absolutely brilliant here, but let's see how the ID4 is doing in the EV octagon.
Jared, it is so good to see a Volkswagen in the EV market. The more brands in, the better. And listen, I like what I'm seeing here so far. Now, of course, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to see the ID3 here in North America, but I think the ID4 is going to become a household name very quickly, and I really like what I'm seeing in this car.
Brad, it's not just you who likes what they see, because the ID4 was given the noble accolade of 2021's World Car of the Year. That is pretty big. Now, the final three nominees were the Toyota Yaris and the Honda E, so not a photo line finish, but even to get to that point, you had to beat a lot of other manufacturers.
Good for them, but are you saying the Yaris was in the... You know my fondness for the Yaris.
Well, it was considered. I'm not sure how it got there.
Top three, baby.
Maybe they thought it was, oh, that's the Yaris. I didn't know that was the Yaris. And then they had to, make a change, but yeah. Now, we all know the EV market is on the rise. The demand is growing and growing. As a matter of fact, in 2021, 6.5 million EV and hybrid vehicles were made worldwide. That's 8.3% of the global market, which is almost double what it was in 2020. So the demand is growing at a pretty good rate.
Well, the thing is this, Volkswagen, of course, has committed to building 1.5 million EVs by 2025, so they're really starting to push it. But here's the thing, they're a little late to the party, right? You got Tesla, you got Ford, Hyundai, they're all already at the party dancing it up. So how is Volkswagen going to compete? With a simple and practical interior, Volkswagen has managed to make things look ultra-modern, sophisticated, and yet still so simple inside their airy interior. Every ID4 comes with a 5.3-inch heads-up display for important things like speed, battery range, and driving aids, making sure you need not take your eyes off the road. Volkswagen also provides a 10-inch infotainment screen, upgradable to 12 inches included in the statement package. The interior still looks like an obvious electric car, but Volkswagen didn't take away any of the things we're used to in our current vehicles.
For example, the ID4 comes with 2 keys, but you can also use the Volkswagen CarNet app to unlock your car and start it in order to warm it up for you. But what's really cool is once you're inside the car, you can hit the push button start, put the car into gear, and away you go. But you don't have to push that button, because once you're in the car, the vehicle knows. You just put it into drive and away you go. Same thing when you're done driving. Once you bring the car to a stop, hit the park button and get out, the vehicle knows you're exiting and automatically shuts off.
Now, one of the negative critiques about the ID4 is the touchscreen system. If you've read any review about the ID4, you already know this. But to be clear, Volkswagen has fixed a lot of those issues. In the touchscreen, it operates as it should. Now, when you dig into the touchscreen, you can do tons of different things like change your ambient colors, you can turn on and off your driver assist options. But the one thing, like the GTI, is that in order to turn your heated seats on, you have to go into the infotainment system. And I gotta be honest, if I could afford a car that had heated seats, having to do something like that, it might bother me a little.
The cargo space in the ID4 is quite good. Volkswagen decided not to go with that hatch look that most EV SUVs are going for, and they wanted to eliminate the slope in the back as best they could. This allows you a maximum cargo space of 1,818 liters. And in Volkswagen fashion, you still get the split back seats and that optional pass-through in the statement package. Should you need more space, Volkswagen has you covered because on the all-wheel drive model, it comes with a hitch and a towing capacity of 2,700 pounds. Now, we also can't forget about the passenger space in the back. Volkswagen does their best to keep those passengers as comfortable as possible.
When it comes to performance, the ID4 boasts a maximum horsepower of 302. Volkswagen also says it goes 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, which is quicker than the GTI hot hatch. Now, I wanted to point out, obviously there's no engine here, but there's also no frunk. Quite frankly, I don't think that's really a big deal because I predict in the future, the frunk will be that place where you open it up and go, oh, that's where I put that. But Jared, let's talk about charging. Do I need to be anxious as an EV driver with this?
Not at all, Brad, because Volkswagen has made things easy and simple for their drivers, giving you 3 years of unlimited charging, partnering with Electrify Canada, building charging stations all over the country. Electrify Canada is committed to building over 100 charging stations and 500 chargers by the end of 2025. Now, the ID4 has an 82 kilowatt lithium ion battery that when using one of these stations can bring you from 10% to 80% in just 38 minutes. To give you an idea, that's about 100 kilometers every 10 minutes. The at-home stations, it'll take about 7.5 hours to give you that full charge.
Speaking of fully charged, I think we are, and that means it's time to go for a drive.
Now, Brad, I think it's neat and would be cool for our viewers to know that the ID series is not Volkswagen's first hat in the ring in the EV world. As a matter of fact, in the 1970s, they were dabbling around in the EV world and they managed to produce a bus. In 1972, I think there were maybe 120 of them that were actually built, but it wasn't that great. The range was about 40 kilometers, but still, they were dabbling in long before now. So this certainly isn't just a flash in the pan, something they're trying that's new. They've been at it for quite some time.
Well, and that's the thing. Maybe they were a little too early to the party because in 2013, they had the e-Golf and it had a range of, for that time, 200 kilometers. That's kind of impressive.
That is, yeah. So they came to the party, said, we're early.
We're early.
Let's go out.
Let's go have a few drinks. We'll come back.
And here we are.
Here we are. Fashionably late.
Fashionably late.
Yes.
A little greased up. Ready to party, though.
Ready to party.
Yeah.
Ready to go. Yes.
Well, Brad, I was doing some digging and I've brought a little more knowledge to the table. My abundance of knowledge, I have come to you with this.
Okay.
I've been able to find out what the ID means in ID4.
Ah, okay, all right. What is it?
Intelligent design,
That makes sense.
identity, and visionary technologies.
Well, that's what it means?
Apparently, yeah.
Well, wouldn't that make it the ID4?
Well, what have I been calling it?
The ID4. Should be.
Brad, one thing that's kind of neat about this car, it's got this ID light bar across the front between the dash and the windscreen. It's kind of neat. It's sketchy, you know, it's not necessary, but if I'm coming up and I'm going to hit somebody and I don't realize it, the car's going to beep at me and light up. Incoming calls, it's going to light up as well. And then if I have my GPS going and I have a turn coming up, it's going to flash as to which way I'm going to turn. So it's kind of neat. I kind of like that stuff.
Now, Jared, I've noticed something on the gear selector that I've never seen before that I know of. There's a B there. What does that stand for?
Well, it doesn't stand for Brad. What that stands for is basically your regenerative braking, your 1 foot driving. So it's kind of like what Tesla offers. Essentially, I hit the accelerator, and normally when I release the accelerator, I go to my brake to brake. But this, once I release the accelerator, the car brakes on its own, slowing the car down automatically. Kind of neat. Some people like that, but some people prefer, if I go back to drive, going left to right with my foot, hitting the brakes on my own.
Here we are again in an EV car, and I like it. I really like what I'm seeing here. But as Cat Stevens once said, "Oh baby, it's a wild world,"
Yeah,
right?
he
Like,
did.
there's a lot of competition out there, and so you've got the Tesla Y, you got the Mach-E, the Ioniq 5, now the ID4. Question is, Jared, do you know your EVs as well as I think you do? Because I've developed a little quiz.
You did.
I did.
Yeah, I had an inkling you did. I wasn't sure.
You're not the only one who did the research,
Okay,
Jared.
all
eh?
right.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for the quiz.
All right.
You got the quiz there.
I do. Here. Which of the EVs has the lowest starting price?
That I know, and that is this, the ID4.
The ID4. Now, if you check out our Ioniq 5 review, I'm telling you, it's only about a $50 difference, but I like Volkswagen. Came in the lowest at $44,995.
Sticking it to the man.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Which has the fastest charge time at 240 volts?
Tesla?
Incorrect, sir. ID4 takes it at 7.5 hours.
So
Okay.
sorry I doubted you, ID4.
Right. How about that? Okay. Most cargo space with the seats up.
With the seats up, that is the Tesla Y.
No, you're failing here. It's the Mach-E at 974 liters. Now, Jared, if you don't get these next two, it's a fail for you.
Okay,
So
all
let's
right,
see.
all right.
Most passenger volume.
That is the Tesla Y.
No, you're incorrect again. That's a fail. It's the Ioniq 5 at 3,015 liters. Last one.
Tesla Y!
Tesla Y. Highest overall rating according to Edmunds.com.
Ioniq 5.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes, you are correct at 8.3 out of 10. And Jared, the point of this little quiz is I think you're actually standing in for the viewers here because everyone assumes Tesla's the best EV. As we've seen, look out, Tesla. Their time might be done.
That is, so the ID4, from your quiz, obviously it's not covering everything, but
No,
it
of
does
course.
prove to be, I mean, all the cars are starting, they do similar things, but from a price point, I do think the ID4 is a very good catch.
Absolutely. ID4. Car brands just giving up on names now?
What do you mean?
Ioniq 5. Well, sorry, that's got a name, I suppose, to it. We just asked the guy, we're just going with numbers now?
What do you mean?
Well, or at least hybrid with numbers. ID4, Ioniq 5.
Tesla Y.
Tesla Y. Are we just giving up
Mach-E.
on names? Just going with letters and numbers?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I always like a good name, and I always didn't like it when the brands would just put numbers because, you know, like humans. If I work for someone, I don't want to just be another number.
No.
I want to be, you know, this is a family-run business. I want to be a name. I want to be appreciated. I just hope these cars still feel appreciated when they're just giving these numbers.
These numbers.
Yeah, what are you? You're a 5. All right. What are you? Hey, 6, come here. 7, get out of there. You know, you got to be a name.
Now, if you're going to go, letters, numbers, why not go with something recognizable like C-3PO?
Because that's
R2D.
ridiculous.
That's
Because
ridiculous?
that's stupid. That's,
The future, the Star Wars, no?
if I was to name an electric car, I think I would make it something practical and relevant to my personal life.
Such as?
The outlet. The socket.
Really? The power line?
Yeah. Man,
Huh.
the things we come up with in these drives.
Somebody should be paying us for these ideas.
How are we not millionaires?
We've done all the big ones now. You can check out our Tesla Y review, you can check out our Mach-E review, and of course our Ioniq 5. Now we've done the ID4, we've given all the big ones the test to do. Which one, if you had to pick one of the four? You're going this one.
I would go ID4. I like the look. I like how I have functionality down here. I still have my screen, and I have a second screen here. This still seems like a regular car to me that happens to be electric.
I gotta say, I'm going Ioniq 5.
Now, why are you going Ioniq 5?
This is good. This would be my second pick, if only for the price point. But there's something, I like the aesthetic of the Ioniq 5. I like its interior more than this, and it just, it says it's the future while delivering the future. This is a bit like, hey, I know you kind of want it in your car. We're giving you the future with electric while letting you, I don't know. It's one of those things.
Now, there's going to be other cars coming out that will be competing with this, but to me, those are the four, the biggies.
We're biggies. Actually, that's a good question. We've done these four. What is next in the EV world?
Kia with their EV, that's another big one.
Yep.
That's the one we want to try, but those are the ones I'm interested in right now in this segment, because the SUV segment is the fastest growing right now.
Yep.
Add EV to that, that's a very, very important segment.
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
are interested in.
Yep.
Now, Brad, we have to be partial to both sides, of course. Okay? If I had to critique the ID4, one of the things I would say is your window switches here. I have 4 windows that go up and down, but I have 2 switches. There's a little button here that if I want to switch to the rear windows, I have to push it, and now I can roll down the rear windows. Push it again, and now that converts to the front window.
Right. Not a huge deal, but still, because there's room there, they could have put it in 2 other buttons.
There is room. I don't know why they wouldn't. Who knows? But one of the things.
You ever get the feeling with some car manufacturers, they're just like, ooh, this would be interesting because we could do it. Doesn't mean you should do it, right?
Other than that, I think Volkswagen did a smashing job. There's nothing I can really critique and be mad at. I mean, you mentioned earlier the screen. Yeah, there was some glitchiness with it, but Volkswagen has addressed that. And now we have a screen that functions as it should.
Yeah. It's a great option.
Well, it's definitely a Volkswagen, and it's a great Volkswagen. It might not be the fastest EV SUV or even the most stylish, but I don't think that's what Volkswagen was going for. Because when you're the manufacturer who invented the people's car, you have an idea of what the people want. And I truly think this has been the EV that the people have been waiting for. This is just the beginning. Volkswagen is at the early stages of its electric life, and I can't wait to see where they take the EV game. I certainly learned a lot today. One of those things is, yes, someone with an IQ of 4 can drive the ID4. So, with that, I give the all-new 2021 Volkswagen ID4 my hood slap of approval.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. This is Brad, signing off.